Hello and welcome to Express Mobility. Today we have with us Mr. Satyakam Arya, who is the MD and CEO of Daimler India Commercial Vehicles. Today we'll try and talk to him and understand more about the commercial vehicle industry's future in India and the company's plans for India and the global markets. Thank you and welcome to the show, sir.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Hello, everyone.
Sir, starting with the most basic question, 2022 was a record year for Daimler India Commercial Vehicles, both in terms of achieving a production milestone as well as domestic and exports. How do you see the first half? Because since you follow the calendar year, how do you see the first half of 2023 playing for Daimler India? And what are your expectations from the remaining year?
Well, first of all, 2022 was a great year. We had a lot of firsts and highs in our history. Our domestic sales went up by 37% by revenue. And that was, I think, the first time in our history that we had a growth like that. When it came to exports, we had the highest ever exports out of our plant in India last year. So it was a great year, but 2023 is actually turning out to be even better than 2022. As you said, we follow the calendar year logic, and the 6 months are over. While the CV market in the medium and heavy commercial vehicle segment has grown by 10%, we've actually outperformed the industry. We have grown by 45% in the first 6 months. That's about trucks. When it comes to buses, thankfully, the market is recovering. The bus market actually doubled in the first 6 months of the year. We've actually outperformed there as well. We've grown by 20% better than the market. So 2023 is going extremely well, and we believe that we will be able to keep that performance in the remaining part of the year.
So what has been the tailwinds for the overall industry? Because the commercial vehicle industry overall is growing, and for you it's double digit aggressive growth. So what are the growth factors that are contributing to this? And do you see this going to continue? For how long do you see this going to continue? Or this is just subdued demand that during the COVID, which didn't happen, that is coming to the market?
Well, first of all, there are many reasons why the CV industry is growing like that. And let me come to some of them one by one. First one, we all know CV industry is very closely related to how the economy is doing. And we know that Indian economy is doing quite well. The GDP is growing by 6.5% to 7%. And in these times, it's a great performance. And we believe that this trend will continue. The second main reason for the growth in CV industry has been the investment in infrastructure. Never ever in our history have we seen that kind of investment happening for that period of time. Infrastructure is a great multiplier of economy, and that also augurs well for the CV industry. The third reason is the reason which you also mentioned. For some years due to COVID, the fleet replacement cycle was subdued, and that is coming back now, right? With BS6 in place, people also believe that this is an emission norm which will be there for next few years, and they are coming back and replacing their fleets. What we have also done is, apart from updating the emission norms, we've also improved the TC of our trucks, and that also means the customers come back and they want to have a truck which can give them a better total cost of ownership. The third reason for this performance of the CV industry is that some sectors like steel, cement, they are doing extremely well. The mining activity is quite strong. The e-commerce, which actually means that the goods have to be transported, is growing by a phenomenal 20 to 25%. Now, if you put all that together, I think that is the reason we are seeing such a strong growth in the CV market. Now, if you look at the first half of this year, in the first quarter, January to March, the market had a growth of about 17%. The second quarter was a bit flat. It was 0.3% growth.
But that's usually the case in the
Exactly.
segment,
So
right?
that's why I'm saying we should not be concerned too much with that kind of flat performance. It's monsoon. It's also normally a slow quarter. There was a pre-buy effect of
New
OBD2,
emission norms.
new emission norms, and if you level that all out, 10% growth is quite good. And we believe the second half of the year would also be a kind of high single-digit percentage growth. So that's the short-term outlook. In the medium term, in the next 2 to 3 years, we believe that the market will continue to grow at high single-digit percentage of growth.
And one of the other challenges, like, during your answer, you have, like, helped me with a few more questions that I can probably build on. Coming to norms, OBD2 is around the corner. The road transport minister has today, like, I saw his tweet, he mentioned about making AC cabin, like, as a mandate. You have already been doing that. So do you see all these emission norms, the AC norms, making India more of an attractive manufacturing and export hub? And also, like, how does it play in your, does it play in your favor, since you already, like, were abiding with global norms?
Well, first of all, it's really encouraging to see those kind of developments happening. In fact, when the announcement for AC cabins came, we absolutely welcomed it. We had in fact welcomed it when we came to the market, but I think the market that time was not prepared. In fact, I'm so happy to tell everyone here that close to 70% of our sales actually even today are with air conditioned cabins. In spite of concerns around fuel efficiency, and I say concerns because in reality, BharatBenz offers 3% better fuel efficiency with an air conditioned truck. Our customers have embraced this because they see a lot of other advantages with an air conditioned cabin. They see better engaged drivers, they see more productive drivers, they see drivers causing less accidents on the road, and overall much productive fleet performance. Now, as these norms become more and more in the mainstream, we believe this is first of all good for the industry. Second, it is actually helping us because we are the player who always brought these technologies to the market much ahead of others. So we are well prepared for these technologies.
Correct. And what about export potential? Does it, like, because you are already exporting a significant portion of your manufacturing, do you see that, like, with all this emission norms, you don't need to make a now, like, a separate engine or a separate technology for India and global?
You're absolutely right. See, we've been exporting since we came. About 30 to 35% of our revenues actually come from exports. So exports is a very significant pillar in our entire ecosystem. And you're right, absolutely. Today we used to have different variants for exports. We used to have even higher specs in exports than in domestic market. We will no longer need to do that, and that gives us the efficiency of scale. So we are absolutely seeing that happening.
Correct. And, like, you mentioned, like, since you are already strong in the heavy duty segment, but there are also growth areas, and there were expectations that Daimler may, like, come in the smaller segment, the SCV, LCV segment. And even there was, like, strong talks about you planning to enter very soon. So what is the update? Are you looking to, like, broaden your portfolio for the Indian market?
See, we at all points in time are looking for opportunities to expand our portfolio. Where are the white spots and where we believe we can add value? And we have been doing that since we entered the market. In fact, if you look at the OBD2 portfolio, which was recently launched, we have done two things. We have expanded our portfolio further. So we have entered into segments where we were not present in the heavy duty. We've also improved the TCO equation for our customers. Right? Now, we believe heavy duty is a segment which is our forte. That's where our strength lies, and therefore that continues to remain our focus in future.
Correct. Like, but I was hoping, like, that what about Fuso e-Canta? Like, it's doing very well in the European markets. Any plans to introduce it into India? Because that's also very what you say expect that segment is expected to accelerate, because people are looking for cleaner vehicles in that segment, and CNG is no longer what you say. The pricing of CNG fuel versus diesel does not make much of a difference nowadays. So, do you see electrification in the SCV space probing you to plan or pilot it in India?
Well, when you look at the SCV space, you're talking about two main things. One is intra-city operation, purely. Second, you're talking about maximum 200 kilometers of running in a day, but mostly it's about 100 kilometers, some outliers of 200 kilometers. And that absolutely fits that battery electric is the right technology solution, right? Uh, when it comes to overall CV market, I believe that different segments have different technology choices. So intra-city, whether it's small commercial vehicles or buses, battery electric is a feasible solution. When it comes to long haul, so we are talking about 1,000 kilometers of running in a single day. Only battery electric is not a complete solution. There we need hydrogen along with it, and therefore we have announced that globally we will work on two technology tracks. One is battery electric and the second is hydrogen, right? Now, you talked about eKenta. I think it's a great product. It has been very successful in Japan and in many other markets where we have launched it. If we believe that Indian market is ready, or when it is ready for electric, and we believe that product fits to the market, we will think about it. But there are no concrete plans at this point in time.
And coming to the fuel of choice, in India, if you look at the medium and heavy commercial vehicles, we are looking at LNG, we are looking at CNG, hydrogen CNG, and God knows what. So, from Daimler's perspective, do you see which of this fuel will make choice? Because one of the other OEMs mentioned that the road to electrification in the commercial vehicle space will pass through gaseous fuels. So, do you also believe, or do you also agree to that notion, or do you believe otherwise?
Well, see, we have to first understand why are we talking about different fuel choices. There are two drivers for this, and it's a bit unique for India and different from rest of the world. The first driver is zero emission. We have to decarbonize the entire economy and transport. So that's the first driver of this change. The second driver is India has also announced that by 2055 we want to be energy independent, right?
Correct.
So that's how we are unique in some aspects. We have two goalposts: energy independence and zero emission. Now, if you have to find a path towards these two goals, there are technologies which are sustainable for the long term, and there are technologies which may emerge as transition technologies. So, we believe that the technologies which are sustainable for the long term are battery electric and hydrogen, right? But what comes in between that transition is the gas. It could be CNG or it could be LNG. It could also be blended fuels like biodiesel or methanol.
Correct.
Right. We believe that these are going to be the transition technologies. They will come and will remain for a certain period of time, but eventually it will be battery electric and hydrogen. And we have therefore also accordingly placed our bets like that. We are going to invest in battery electric and hydrogen technologies, not only for India, but for the global markets. Depending on how gas performs, we may decide to do a tactical play in gas.
And coming to the headwinds, what are the challenges? Finance, I think, remains a concern for the commercial vehicle industry, and also with the government and many states now banning 15 vehicles older than 15 years more stringently in the commercial vehicle space. Do you see the replacement demand will be there and will be able to counter effect the headwinds of finance?
Well, first of all, we don't see any challenges in the financing any longer. So our customers are able to easily get finance if they have a robust balance sheet and if they have a good business plan in utilizing their fleet. So that challenge has gone, and I'm happy to say that this has happened. When it comes to having different fuel types in the fleet, I believe this is what everyone has to prepare for, right? That today we are handling only diesel, but in future we may need to handle more than one powertrain, and that's going to be a challenge. But I guess everyone has to be prepared for it.
Correct. And recently, you also started the pre-owned Bharat pre-owned business, like the used, a short truck. So how do you see, how big is that market? And with that, how what kind of new customers or growth factors do you see coming in?
I think you also earlier talked about there are trucks which are available which are quite old, more than 15 years old. I believe if we want to make a real big change in reducing pollution and improving the cost of operating a fleet, we must take out the old trucks from the roads as quickly as possible. I know that's not easy.
The key challenge, I think, is
there are
incentivization.
Incentivization could be one way. Educating people about what a new truck offers as compared to the old one is another one. The third one could be that our customers, the e-commerce companies, for example, asking for a better turnaround time or a higher fuel efficiency or better cost from fleets. I think those are the drivers which could enable that. But if we are able to do that concerted effort in the next 10 years, I think that would be a game changer. So we must think about all the ways of doing that. We know there is a scrappage policy in place, but I believe a lot more investment has to happen in creating those test centers, scrapping centers, so that we do this properly in the end.
Correct. And that will be the growth driver for the...
That will definitely be growth driver. We have not yet seen the real impact of scrappage policy, right? I just earlier said that we are saying the CV industry will grow by about high single digit percentage. I believe over the next 7 to 8 years, by 2030, the industry will come close to about 450 to 500,000 trucks, in that range, which is a single digit percentage growth. If the scrappage policy becomes really effective, this could be a double digit growth. Right. So we've not factored that impact in, because we are still not seeing that impact.
So basically, if I have to quote you for this, saying that with the scrappage policy is not even touched the tip of the...
We have not even touched the tip of the iceberg. If I take the data which we read about, and I don't think we have a reliable source of data, we're talking about roughly 20 million heavy duty, 15 to 17 million medium and heavy duty trucks which are plying, which have to be taken off the road in the next years. Right? So basically, that's a large volume.
So basically, just even this replacement is consistent enough and to give us at least a decade of growth for the CV industry.
And we are kind of preparing for that in the way, right? We have recently launched this BharatBenz certified. I'm sure you must have heard about it. And that's about giving the second life to the truck owners, but doing it in an organized way, right? Today it doesn't happen in an organized way, and that's why these challenges come.
So how much growth do you expect from that, and how many centers do you plan? Because that will also mean expanding your retail network.
So we had two steps in that. The first step was BharatBenz Exchange, which we launched in 2020. What that meant was a customer who is willing to buy a new BharatBenz but has a fleet with a different brand, we help him transition to BharatBenz. And I'm happy to tell you that we today have 18% of our sales coming from BharatBenz Exchange.
Correct.
Right? The second step to that was the BharatBenz certifies. So where we take a used BharatBenz, refurbish it, and then offer it for second use with warranty and with maintenance contract. So we've recently launched this 2 months back in Karnataka. So that's our pilot.
Correct.
And our plan is to have 10 more geographies ready by end of this year.
Correct.
With the certified. So the step is quite clear. First location, 10 locations, and then 100 locations.
So 100 locations by when do you expect that?
We expect to do that in next two years time.
Okay, and what about your retail touch point? How big is it right now, and what is in the next 3 to 5 years, where do you want it to grow?
Well, we are continuously expanding our network. I remember talking about this first time in 2019. At that point in time, we had 182 touch points across India. Today, we are at 315 touch points. So we have almost doubled that. And we had said that by end of this year, 2023, we want to have 350 touch points. We are absolutely on the way to achieve that. With that, we will be able to offer our customers a touch point within 100 kilometers across the length and breadth of India, and a reach of less than 2 hours.
Correct. And there's a lot of buzz around electric bus segment in India, primarily driven by the government tenders. Do you see that a motivation factor for BharatBenz to enter the electric bus space in India, or do you see that you would only enter when the market is ready?
Well, we will enter when the segments in which we operate in is ready. Right. We today don't do any sales in or very limited sales in government. Most of our sales happen with the private customers in the school bus segment or the corporate travel segment.
Correct.
Right. We also have the intercity long haul bus segment. And we believe it will take some time for these segments to ask for electric bus. And when that happens, we will be absolutely ready with our product.
Correct. And what about new investments in India, new products, for this year and they say next year? What are the new products that we can expect from BharatBenz or Daimler India Commercial? And what kind of new investments are you looking to make?
Well, first of all, since we came to the market, we've invested close to 10,000 crores. And that was a very sizable investment in our plant, in our products, in our brand, and in creating our network of suppliers and dealers. And after that, every year we have been investing in our product portfolio and in expanding our network. Right. I just talked about the number of touch points we have achieved. Look at OBD2, which was recently launched. We didn't just upgrade the emissions. What we also did was we increased the power rating of our vehicles. So from 230 and 280 horsepower in heavy duty, we've gone to 260 and 320 horsepower. For the medium duty, we used to offer 140 horsepower. We've gone to 170 horsepower. So investment went into doing that. The second thing which we did in OBD2 was we have reduced the maintenance cost of a vehicle. A heavy duty BharatBenz now needs to come to the workshop only 5 times in 6 years. These kind of things have never been offered in the Indian market, right? So the maintenance cost of the BharatBenz fleet or product portfolio has gone down by 11 to 15% with OBD2.
Correct.
So what does that mean? A better TCO for our customers, right? And that's the reason we are also seeing a great traction in our sales in 2023. So the investments in product portfolio will continue. I cannot give you a figure at that point in time, at this point in time. But as and when we are ready with new products, we will come back and announce. With OBD2, we have also expanded our portfolio. So we've added 8 new variants in heavy duty and 2 new variants in the medium duty. We've upgraded our mining truck. We call it 3532 cm. It's a 35 ton with 320 horsepower engine now. And that can go up to 90 meter of mining depth.
And where are the white spaces do you see, which you still will be addressing in the coming months or in the years?
Well, if you look at the portfolio we operate in, there are few white spaces which exist, but those are mainly now application driven, right? So our focus is going to be cover those applications. There are some in mining space, there are some in long haul space. We'll continue to do that. But our main focus will continue on enhancing the total cost of ownership.
Correct. What about India specific product? Do you have any plans to make for the overall Daimler? is there any product that is planned, designed and manufactured and made for India?
Well, first of all, our entire portfolio is designed for India, right? We took our global platforms and we tweaked them, adapted them to the Indian market.
Correct.
And that is what we will continue to do. In fact, I'm happy to say that all the products which we have in India are also exported. They are exported to more than 50 markets. Of course, we meet the regulations in those markets in terms of safety or in terms of emission, but inherently, it's the same DNA and the same products which we do, and that will continue to be our focus. We will come with products which, of course, fit and lead the Indian market, but they will also be suitable to the global markets, and depending on which market, we will then continue to launch them.
Correct. Lastly, two things. One is a big challenge for the overall commercial vehicle industry is the lack of drivers. So, what is BharatBenz doing, and what do you think can be done by overall industry as well to get more people to see driving as a proper profession and not just the last resort as a job? And secondly, this with the new technology, it also means that roadside mechanics cannot help you. While most of the BharatBenz trucks come back to this. So what are you doing to enhance the skills of the mechanic or partners?
First, let's talk about drivers. Well, a very important actor in the ecosystem, I would say. And it's disheartening to see that there is shortage of drivers and people do not want to choose driving as a profession. But let's understand this a bit more in detail. Why is that happening? I think we have not done our due in terms of giving respect to this profession. If we do that, I'm sure people will choose driving as a profession. So we need to provide drivers, first of all, a safe working environment. Second, a comfortable working environment. If we do that, I'm sure people will choose this as a profession. If you look at our safety standards, I think we greatly lack the Western economies, for example. Let's take the recent example of air-conditioned cabins. We are mandating them now. It's a great and welcome step. We should have done that long back, right? If cabins are air conditioned, we will not have cowl trucks on the road, right? We will have a much comfortable and safer working environment for the driver and a much more productive fleet.
Just to interrupt, you mentioned with the AC cabin, the cowl trucks segment may vanish. Do you see that once the norm becomes a mandate, all the cowl a majority of the portion of cowl trucks manufacturing will go away from India?
I hope so. I hope it happens because the drivers in India definitely deserve a much better working environment. In fact, I'm happy to tell you that we came with air-conditioned trucks since beginning, and close to 70% of our sales today is air-conditioned trucks. So we are absolutely prepared for it, and that's why we also welcome this step. In fact, many customers who have bought air-conditioned BharatBenz, they come back and buy only that. They were not so sure in the beginning, but all the repeat purchases from them is only air-conditioned truck cabins because they see the benefit of due to that. The second reason of safety, I want to pick this up because I think this is very important when we want to address the shortage of drivers or the respect in this profession which is lacking. India today has still not mandated the crash safety norm, which is called ECE R29-02. Right? What it mandates is till the lower part of the windshield, right, from bumper to the lower part of the windshield, there is a crash safety norm for the cabin. And that's why you see the cowl trucks also on the road. I think we need to bring those kind of regulations in India. We need to mandate them so that a driver gets a cabin which is well designed so that in case of an accident, we can avoid a fatality, right? We in BharatBenz, since we came, we offered this, the cabins which are meeting this regulation. In fact, from this year, we are also meeting the 03 norm, which is one step ahead in India. So we are offering the heavy duty trucks which are meeting this crash safety norm, which is the latest norm in Europe.
Correct.
I think we need to bring those kind of standards so that the people who want to enter this profession also have a safe working environment.
Correct. And what about skilling? The skilling?
When it comes to skilling of drivers, what we have done is we have opened 4 training centers across India, in Chennai, in Cuttack, in Pune, and in Dharwad near Delhi. And these 4 training centers offer training to mechanics and to drivers. The second thing which we have done based on digitalization is we've recently launched a digital and simulated driving platform. The pilot is happening in our factory as I speak. What this platform does, it actually simulates a real life driving condition. So you sit in a BharatBenz cabin and it simulates that environment around you, and you can actually learn driving on it. We have developed about 16 driving modules, different applications, and we have also enabled this platform for 5 languages. So the pilot is happening, and our plan is to then offer this across the 4 corners of this country.
So you could train how many, like how, is there a target in mind that you would like to train or enable how many people to be able to come into the profession every year?
Well, we have not set a target like that, but with the capacity we are offering, we are training we have trained about 28,000 drivers and mechanics in the last 4 years. And our plan is to do about 10,000 a year.
Thank you, Satyakam. It was lovely talking to you. I mean, a lot of things have been discussed, and I hope the upcoming norms make the drivers and the commercial vehicle industry more attractive and safer for everyone.
We all hope so. Thank you so
Thank
much
you
for your time. Thank you.